Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wealth Talks, a podcast for a single mom by single moms. It's your girl Sam here, and I am so excited to be here today talking about today's episode, which is all about inflation and how to make sure that we are getting the best bang for our buck. Yes, so inflation, they say, is at an all-time high. And to understand what that means, you have to go back and look at history. So the last time inflation, right now, inflation currently is sitting at, I want to say, a little bit close to 8%. It may be higher than that because we're just going by what reporters give us. But how it works right now is they look at the past. So the last time inflation was this high was around the 1980s. So we're at a high since the 1980s. And as a single mom, as any person, not just a single mom, I want to give you the best resources and tips and strategies that you can use to make sure that you're not so impacted by what's going on with inflation. So as you may have noticed, food prices have went up increasingly, especially the price of beef. If you're an oxtail girl eater like me, you know that oxtails are really expensive, so we're not eating that right now. And it's just everything is just very, very expensive right now. Then we saw last week about the way gas prices are, and thankfully, it's one of the advantages of living in New York where I don't have to worry too much about driving, so I'm not too affected by the gas prices, but they are extremely high. And then now I've been reading that the credit card interest rates, because the government has to slow down the way money is being spent, they are raising interest rates. So that means if you carry a high balance, high interest credit card, you will feel that in your pocket. So they're looking to raise, Visa and MasterCard specifically are looking to raise their interest rates about half a point, maybe a point. And if you look at the math, if you do like the calculations, you'll be paying an extra, anywhere from 150 to 300 a year extra in interest. And I don't know about you, but first of all, I don't like giving out any extra money. And second of all, um, I don't want to pay any extra money. I try to cut my corners or cut my costs as best as I can. So in this episode, we're going to just talk about some ways that you can help mitigate or lessen that blow on you with inflation. Now, there are going to be some things where you cannot get over. You're going to have to pay certain things, for gas prices for are one. You're going to have to pay gas prices. That's just the way it is. You are going to have to go to the supermarket and pay extra, but there are things you can do that can help lessen that blow on you. So the first thing is when it comes to the credit cards, you always want to be strategic with paying down credit cards. And I've been saying this for a while. There are two methods that I introduce to clients. I have used both methods. I actually, there's no preference on which one works better. It just depends on where you are right there at the moment. So one of the first one is a snowball effect. And I use the snowball effect when I first started really taking a control of my finances. What the snowball effect does is you put or snowball method, I should say, you line up all the debts that you have, all the credit cards that you owe, student loans, whoever you owe, you line them up. And I use a spreadsheet. Back then I used a notebook. Now I use a spreadsheet because it's just more cleaner, and you put down from high to low or low to high. And what the premise is, you're paying into each of those debts that you owe, but you're throwing money into the one with the least amount of owed. And what that does is once that's paid off, you take what you were paying to that and you throw it to the next one until there's like a snowball where they roll and everything is wiped out completely. Now that way it got me through when I was first paying down my credit card debt. So it's nothing wrong with that. The other way that you can do is the avalanche. Now, the avalanche focuses on high interest rates first, because the premise behind that is the higher the interest rate, the more money you're paying out that you could be using for something else. That's technically the free money, like I like to call it. So if you have a credit card that has a high interest rate of 23% and you have one that has a high interest rate of 9%, you are going to take whatever extra money you have. Now you're paying off everything, but the extra money you have, you're going to throw to the one that's 23%. And you're going to try not to put anything else on there to hack up to increase the balance. So you want to keep that in mind. So now when you're looking at, those are two methods you can use when you're looking to pay down debt and you have the extra money. But what if you don't have the extra money? What if you like, Sam, I don't have the extra money. Like, kids need this, kids need that. I know season is coming, but I need to do X, Y, and Z. So if you do not have the extra money, there are two things you could do. The first thing is you could do is you could take out a personal loan. A personal loan, because personal loans usually have lower interest rates. So instead of paying 14.99% APR, you'll pay about 7.67%, depending on your credit, that is. So if your credit is good, you're going to get a better interest rate, which is why I always preach, let's get this credit on point, because this is where it matters the most. So you take out the personal loan, they ask you, one company in particular that I'm using is Navy Federal. They ask you what amounts do you have, who's the debt, the creditors that you're paying. You pay out everything, so you knock out all that high interest, and now you get a lump sum payment that you just pay Navy Federal. Now, I like this for two reasons. Number one, it takes away all the extra money that you're paying, because you was going to pay anyway, but now you pay at a lesser interest rate. And number two, if you're building out your credit profile, a healthy mix of revolving and installment debt is what's needed to give you that extra, give you those good data points. So if you do not have like student loans, mortgage, or auto loans, this personal loan could help you boost up your credit score. Now, when you do the personal loan, if you're looking to boost up your credit score, you want to make sure that you do the loan for at least 10, 12 months. And this is why, because that's when it reports. If it's a 3 month, 6 month, it doesn't really have any effect on your credit. So you want to stretch it out as much as you can. The second thing you can do is there are credit cards that have 0% APR rates. So that means you can transfer you can transfer your balance from the cards with the high interest over to the credit card with the 0% APR to buy you enough time to get that money paid off, where it's not so heavy on your shoulders of extra money being spent. So that's one way you can tackle inflation if it's bothering you. The second way, and I know you're going to get upset, is your budget. Yes, your budget. Your budget is a guideline to show you where you're spending your money on. And it can help you with finding extra money to put towards extra things. When you have a budget, you become more disciplined. I know I become more disciplined. You become more disciplined and more conscious of where you're spending your money. And this isn't going to be important during times of inflation. I know most people are like, well, I just go to the grocery store and go that. But if you can do a little bit smarter, why not? If you can, let's say, free up an extra $69 to buy a membership to a wholesale place like BJ's or Sam's Club, then you can save money all year round. So this is where the budget comes in, where it's helping you to make a guideline of where you're spending your money and how you're spending your money. Because inflation is not going anywhere anytime soon. I'll tell you that. We don't know what's going on in other countries, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we have to be out for ourselves. So we have to watch what we're spending. We have to be more strategic and more diligent and conscious of where our money is going, because it's important. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out and party and enjoy yourself. You most certainly can, but you need to be aware of what you're spending. Every dollar has to have a purpose. It has to be intentional. And if you can free up more money to put towards into other vehicles to not only maximize, not to help make your money grow, because that's the whole point. We want our money to grow. We want our money to recycle and work for us. We don't want to just go and work 40 hours, 40 plus hours a week, get our paycheck and just pay for things, just spend it away. Yeah, you do have to do the necessity in life, but you also have to take out some type of money to put towards growing your money, because that's the key. That's the key when you hear people talk about building wealth and breaking the cycle of generational poverty. Is not done from just paying your bills and adding money to your savings account. It's paying your bills, adding money to your savings account, and then purchasing more assets. Assets are those revenue, and those are assets produce more income for you. So you want to produce more assets. You want to purchase more assets. So inflation is here to stay. Well, not too long, hopefully. So, just a recap of some of the things that we can get started on doing right now to help us so that we can minimize the blow, making sure that we're paying attention to those debts that have the high interest rates, being strategic with paying those down, and then spending a little bit of extra time on our budget, because that is what's going to take us over this hump and help us to, as they say, break the cycle of generational poverty. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode today. It's your girl Sam here. Real quick, if you have not done so, I wrote an ebook. Yes, it's on Amazon right now, and I'm not to like brag a little bit, but your girl's in number one in several different categories. So if you are beginning your financial foundation, your journey to creating a financial foundation, this e-guide that I wrote is a simple, easy, actionable step guide to help you start your foundation. Because I want you to read this book if you haven't had it, if you don't have your foundation yet set, because part two is going to show you how to build it on. So, your girl Sam here. Talk to you soon.